The special session, which is going to be all about watching out the red flags, know how to building a cyber safe workplace for women. Everybody needs to keep their seat belts still tightened because I'm going to rope in, ladies and gentlemen, someone, a specialist who has done a lot of work, especially in this arena. Please welcome the Advocate Supreme Court of India and founding partner ARK Legal, Khushbu Jain. Could you please very, very warmly welcome you on the stage and lead you to front the talk? And of course, we're going to reserve the last few minutes, as you know, in making sure that we do engage our participants and ask them what they have to ask us. Over to you. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you so much. And I'm pleased to be part of one of the very different forum that I've always been into, that's human resource. And to start with, Internet became as one of the rights, recognized rights in 2016 by United Nations Human Rights Council, that is UNHRC. Now, with this human right, we all realize that Internet has become really a part and parcel of everyday's life, and our work is not restricted, not even kept away from this. With pandemic came the scenario that our houses became work houses, our recreational activity are on internet. Digital has literally become part and parcel of life with regard to banking, with regard to shopping, with regard to gaming, with regard to fun activities, talking to our friends, chat groups. With metaverse coming in, we want to really have that virtual immersification of the rooms in the office rooms in the virtual world. Now, India has not been away from when it comes to technology, and the way India has grown is exponentially higher than all other countries when it comes to digital world. With this boon, also came the bane. When I talk about bane, see, with digitalization came the crimes. The crimes which all of us used to see it in the physical form started taking part in the virtual world. All the crimes which you can name me one or two or five, I can tell you all of them have now started happening on internet. When you talk about stalking, when you talk about voyeurism, when you talk about stealing money from the bank accounts, when you talk about stealing from the bank itself, robbery of the bank, all those things started happening over internet, and hence we realized, all right, that also has to be looked into. But with that, the other aspect that's very crucial is safety of women in the cyberspace. Why I'm focusing, or why today's talk is all about safety of women in the cyberspace, will come to the workplace, is because the victimization and objectification of women in the cyberspace, which I think earlier two sessions were talking about mental health. If that victimization, objectification of women happens on the workplace, that's hurting mental health, that's hurting your emotional well-being, that's hurting your physical health. And with that, you can't have that mental balance, which we were talking about in the earlier two sessions, which made us realize that how important mental well-being is all about. Now with that, when I talk about that victims of women are being objectified and victimized with it, hence as an individual they suffer a lot. But is it just restricted to women suffering alone? No. Let me give you a few examples of how it can hurt not just women individual if they have been victim of cybercrime, but as an industry, as a corporate house, as an institution, how it can impact you more than anybody else. Let me just try and link it. We have a lot of HR here, so let's take an example of an HR part of it. Let's say there's a phishing mail that comes to you. So let's say, Institute A, your security is uptight. Everybody has spent so much on the security of these institutes, especially when we talk about kind of breaches they were happening, especially when we saw how important or critical it can be if your data has been stolen or if your systems have been attacked. I think all of us must have had that ransomware attacks that has happened to us. So we put a lot of money when it comes to our security. Uptight, easiest way is humans, right? When you talk about data security, humans are the weakest link. So it became easy that let's attack humans, and from humans enter into the systems. So again, coming back to the example with the HR, let's say somebody hacks into your system as a woman, including whatever kind of crime they can with social engineering, and they somehow enter into your system. It can be anything, okay? There are different ways of doing it. It can be sending you some very lucrative emails or messages by understanding your type, and you are bound to click on those. Or it can be a It can be embedded malware with somebody else, and you feel like, okay, let me click onto it. Or you visit certain websites which are out there, okay, these are the games you play, and there is a malware attached to it. There can be 20,000 ways of doing that social engineering on you. So let's say I can't enter into your institution, so let me get into your HR. Now, when I enter into an HR, it's an easiest way to hurt, right? So your HR head is a woman, and I get to get into her system. Now, with that system, all I can do is I can send email to everybody in the organization with whatever kind of crime I want to commit. I can ask recruitment to be done of somebody. I can ask that this payment has to be done urgently. I can share. I can get into entire data of your organization and share the entire salaries of all the layers and different layers of it, which can create a havoc in the institution. We all know how secret that data is. After that, I can really send some emails to everybody that tomorrow is off, or there is a change in the, we love those emails, no? They change in the holiday list, and everybody will open it, right? HR is sending you an email. The moment you open, now that's embedded with a malware. But you will trust your HR, and you won't have any doubts. So from one email, I have entered into all of your systems, and there would be few key management personnel, there would be few into IT, there would be few into vendor. From there, I can commit 10,000 more different crimes. I can make payments to be done to somebody. I can understand what kind of payments are going when, and then have a request to be done, which is business email compromise that we do every time. So all I'm trying to say is, when you talk about cyber safety, institutions also have to work or create a process where you're being taught with regard to all social engineering nuances in the cybercrime that is coming. Now, there's another, I have 4 minutes left. Let me also cover POSH because it's an HR, and I think all of you would know about POSH more than I know about it. But the question comes is any crime that is happening over online or on the digital space, which is not even in your office time, will that amount to POSH? Any answers? Yes, everybody is agreeable to that, right? We have Delhi High Court, Bombay High Court, and Supreme Court judgments which have very specifically redefined Section 3 of the POSH Act, which says that workplace is not confined towards the four walls of the work. It is getting into the digital space also. But I have got 3 more minutes. but coming back, there are different kind of crimes, and why crimes are happening. There are, I think, we do have questions happening in the next, after 3 minutes. But to understand that why crimes are happening and how do we stop it and what do we do. So as an HR over here, I would say that you need to have a very well-defined policy in place. The way you have got it for POSH, the same thing you have to do it when it comes to cyber crime against women in the workplace. When you do that, one is taking care of all the sections which are already being recognized as a crime in Indian laws, which are bullying, pornographic content, sending obscene messages, forcing somebody, stalking. There are voyeurism. There are enough and more crimes which have been recognized in IT Act, IPC. You can look at Section 354 to 354C. You can look at Section 66 and 67 and 68 of IT Act, and club in their policy. Apart from that, what you can do is, there are more things which are yet not defined, because our IT Act came into year 2000, and at that time, the entire purpose of bringing that act was to give recognition to digital signature and certain papers, and also facilitating e-commerce. We never thought in 2000 that cybercrime would go to such a length and will be part and parcel of things. So we lack definitions, we lack certain categorizations of crimes and what would be the punishment. That's why we keep on mingling between different sections. You as an HR can have a very clear-cut policy that these are the things which are not admissible or will not be taken in a good way when it comes to this organization. And in this lieu, these are the punishments which can be entailed right from restricting it, and the crimes which are recognized as a crime. We might share this with the local police, and the victims are at an option to even take you to the local police station. But apart from that, you as an institute have a policy which is completely creating a cyberspace policy for everybody, not just women, but men, for everyone. And for that, these are the do's and don'ts, and these are the consequences if somebody indulges into something like that, which can include workplace. Workplace you have to define very clearly, being part of some chat messages, or somebody sees somebody in different department may not be part of the same department, but sending some messages on Instagram, the person can say that, okay, no, it was an Instagram, and that person have never worked together. They are in different teams, different floors. But will that constitute, not constitute? All those things you have to define very clearly so that as HR, whether you can be part of the POSH or not, what kind of policies you're creating will create a very healthy environment for yourself. Let's open for questions, or I can define as many more definitions as I can give as many more examples or crime scenarios, but I think let's go for questions and then I can continue from that. Yes, sir, please. Yes, ma'am. Sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Basically, I say that there are some merits and demerits. Now, let us take women part. Now, there are some women who always try to be normal. I don't blame every woman that she does something which goes beyond her limits. But at the same time, there are a class of women who try to dress up themselves in a way that it is kind of an invitation. The boys take it as an invitation towards them.
Sir, let
Something
me.
like that. I'm sorry.
Before the entire public comes on you, let me answer it. I'm saving you.
I'm coming to the both parts. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My apology.
Last question?
Last 30
All right, I
seconds.
thought there was a questions again.
We're going to wrap it up
All
in
right.
30 seconds.
Okay, I take back
sir,
my words.
Let me answer you, sir. That's not the answer for you. The crime is by you. Whatever the women wear doesn't have anything to do with the crime you're committing. So I don't think so there is anywhere it has been recognized that it's a women's fault for whatever she's wearing. She can come in whatever manner, but restricting it to the workplace, I think HR will define very clearly what are the dress codes, and those things can be taken care of, but that cannot be a reason for you to commit a crime.
I'm not taking that as a base. I'm sorry. Please don't misunderstand.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Khushbu, thank you very much. Just in the interest of time, we could take a few questions, but I'm sure the audience would be very happy to connect with you offline. Please give it up for her, everybody.